Well, it's still okay. There we go. Now it's live.
Hello, everyone. This is Scratch and Jack, your host for the Amazing Plastic Sunday Hangout. Because I got a lot of things going on this computer. Hello. Let me start over again. Hello, everyone. This is welcome to the Amazing Plastic Sunday Hangout. This is your host, Scratch and Jack. Amazing Plastic is a Google Plus community of skill modelers of all shapes and sizes, interests, genres, and skill levels. Some of which, some skill levels can even, never mind, I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, who like to share their tips and tricks with one another, learn more about their craft, and perhaps even, especially, celebrate one another's skill modeling achievements. And I have to say, Amazing Plastic is perhaps the fastest growing and the largest skill modeling community here on the internet. Right now we have 1,605 members.
Wow.
Yesterday we had 1,604, but it usually grows maybe one every day or two. So,
hurrah!
Hurrah!
Hurrah. I'm not going to light fireworks this week, though.
Okay, well, that was a couple of weeks ago. That was more than a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, yeah, Jay just threw off some fireworks for our second-year anniversary. So we have just the two of us here. We can talk models, can't we?
Oh, sure we can.
If any one of you are watching, and, well, nobody's watching right now. Hello, watcher. You're our first watcher. If you want to join us in the skill modeling, just give me a holler at Scratch and Jack. I'll get you into the room. There's only, like, what, 3 of us? But we can carry on.
Oh, absolutely.
And how you doing, James?
I'm doing fine there, Jack. Been on the modeling front. I've been working on my little figure for the last week and that.
Yes, you had pictures. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And mostly what I've done this weekend is working on and actualizing her weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So
those are cool.
Those are nice.
So
that would actually look good. That would actually look good on a Mad Max bash build that we've been trying to do.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty neat gun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That and her hammer.
Oh, she's got a hammer.
Well, it's for squashing bugs, so she's got a hammer.
There's a 60s song. I've got a hammer. I've got a hammer in the morning. I've got a hammer in the morning. Hammer
in the evening.
In the evening.
All over this land.
Yeah.
All over this. Yeah, I don't. I'm not very musical, so but it did pop in my mind though. Is that it? Is that all paper or is that styrene?
That is styrene.
Oh.
That is styrene.
Hey Jay, you came over to the dark side.
Oh.
But I do have the finished version of my Dragon 2 spacecraft.
That's cool.
That is really cool, and that's paper.
That is paper.
Does that come off of the rocket? Does the capsule come off?
Yep, the capsule comes off.
Oh, show us the bottom side of that.
So it comes off of you got the heat shield and that.
Ooh.
So the capsule does come off the trunk.
Uh-huh.
What they call the trunk.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That is really cool. Now, of course, a rocket is much taller than that.
Yeah, this is just the configuration of the trunk and the capsule that was used during the abort test.
I see.
Done in early July there.
I see. So those things coming off the side there that are on an angle along with the contour of the capsule, are those rocket engines?
These are rocket engines. Yeah, there's 8 Draco engines on this because this capsule is designed to land back on land.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, when they did the abort test, this thing had enough power to almost take it to the ionosphere. If you've seen that, if you've seen the video of it taking off or watched it during it was just it had power to spare.
So if I go on YouTube, I can just look up SpaceX and they should have video of stuff.
Oh yeah, there's lots of
You know what? I got to do that sometime.
That whole landing on land thing, I love that idea. Somebody quoted saying that with the SpaceX and such being able to come down and actually land
Yeah.
like that, it's landing the way God and Robert Heinlein said a rocket ship should land.
Nice. So Jay, how you doing, Jay?
I am doing fabulous. So much better than I have in the last couple of months. Life is good. I've been working on, very desperately working on the Death Star, trying to get Dark Star, trying to get that done. That's a studio scale model of the Dark Star from the movie. I've also been building some props. I got a commission to do a prop from, well, you know my lab assistant, Jessica, on the Von Crypt stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She is a comic artist, and she and her boyfriend want to do a live-action character of the main character, and they need a glove that has a glowing pentagram in the back and everything, and it's based on a Nintendo Power Glove. And they managed to get a hold of an old Nintendo Power Glove and said, "Could you make this into a Saint Ninja glove?" And I said, "Hell yeah, no problem." So I'm going to be doing that. I've built a couple more props for the lab. Yesterday, I kind of threw this together. I wanted a microscope in the laboratory, but of course, it cannot look normal.
Yeah.
So this is what I came up with. I took a cheap toy microscope and doodadded the heck out of it, and then I've got blood dripping off the slide,
Oh.
everything, and
You steampunked it, yeah.
well, yeah, I call it Von Crypt Punk because it's kind of a mixture of steampunk and weird science.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one thing you will always see in a Von Crypt Punk type piece is these coiled wires going up and leading to nowhere, doing nothing. But it has a couple of places for batteries in here, so I'm thinking I've got to put a couple of LEDs in this thing.
Well, you got to light it up somewhere, yeah.
I've got to have it light up someplace, and I'm thinking of using the deep blue ultraviolet LEDs because they just cast such a wonderful weird glow.
Mm-hmm.
And it travels.
Well, then your coily wire will have some purpose then, huh?
Basically, yeah, it'll sit and look good. I can think of
carry the current for the LEDs, and you got that you were on an angle like that too. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea, get the Dutch angle going here, and it makes everything look creepy and Batmanish. So. Hey, everybody heard that Batgirl passed away this month?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I met her on a couple of occasions at conventions, and in fact, at one convention, it was my favorite, her gopher had to go get food, and we had been talking for a good 10 minutes, and she asked me if I would join her at the booth to help her run the booth while the gopher went to go get food. So I got to sit with her and hand over stuff for people to autograph and all this, and I've got a picture of me sitting next to her with my arm around her, and she was just one of the sweetest people you will ever meet. Yeah. And I'm really sorry that she's gone. But
how old was she?
Oh, I don't know, but I know she passed away from complications from breast cancer.
Oh, okay.
Although she was a little odd in some ways. I mean, she thought the movie In Like Flint that she was in was just a bizarre, ununderstandable movie, but one of the favorite movies she ever did was Mars Needs Women. So yeah, so no accounting for taste, but
well, all of you who are watching right now, if you want to join us, just give me a holler at Scratch and Jack. Just open up open my chat box. Just give me a message. I'll get you in. We have Bradley. I haven't seen you in a long time, Brad. What's up?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Fine.
Awesome. I got a new setup here, so.
Hey, that seems to be the trend these days. I got one too.
I can get myself in the shot here. Hold on.
It's too clean, man. You got to mess it up.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been thinking today. That's the issue. But yeah, no, I've been kind of out of the game for a little while, and thought I'm upping my production, I guess. So that's been doing a little bit of contest work, doing a little bit of everything, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were just talking
But
about.
yeah, I do have a clean workbench right now, and that's really only because it's one of the 5 projects I'm working on.
Yeah, that's perfectly fair. And off air yesterday, after look what I have. I got the across the pond. I just noticed it. It's not supposed to be across the pond. It's supposed to be the Sunday. Here, let me get that out of there.
Oh.
Oops. Didn't go to the right place. Let's see. There we go. We were talking about contests off air after the Across the Pond Hangout, and you enter in them?
Yes. So I actually I entered in our local one in June, and then also I entered 3 models in the national IPMS contest that was down in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm. What's your? Because I'm sort of not fond of.
Pushing your production up and.
Well, I'm not fond of circumstances where subjectivity makes you a winner or a loser. I don't like subjectivity because I have a past life, and I was under a lot of subjective, how should I say, scrutiny, and I just don't care for it. And I just think that. Well, I also found out from Lou some of these contests also have builds that people aren't judging. They're just brought them along and showing them off. That would be me.
Yeah.
I would not necessarily enter into one. So, have you won any?
I've taken 2 third places in my category. So,
Okay.
one thing that I've learned, especially in the IPMS sanctioned stuff, science fiction tends to be the redheaded stepchild along with the automotive stuff.
Uh-huh.
So the bulk of what's there is armor, aircraft, and naval.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, those are the ones where they drill down deep, right? When I was at the national contest, they had so many subcategories. I mean, there was a subcategory for 1/72nd scale German only, you know, prop planes, right? It goes down to that level.
Uh-huh.
You know, at the smaller shows, it tends to be, you know, here's our World War II aircraft. Here's our, you know, in each scale, and then, you know, so like the categories that I had a couple that were winners or at least placed were sci-fi figures and then sci-fi ships.
Cool.
But, you know, to go in like this is a JU-88. I don't anticipate this, you know, being able to compete, you know, anything out of the local level. And actually, the next contest I'm shooting for is just about a month from now down in Dayton, and so to take an aircraft down to the right builders down there, I don't expect to, you know, really have a contender in that race. But the other things that I'm taking probably would be a little bit closer to the mark. You know, sometimes it's just nice to go see how you stack up against the other models, right? That's the cool thing about going to the shows.
Well, I can agree with that, but that's just me. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
It is very subjective, though. They do have guidelines, but yeah, it is a very subjective thing. And even after the big show, so my daughter was 3rd in her category for aircraft at the national show.
Oh wow!
And you know, there's all kinds of bitching and nitpicking that goes on after the fact. You know, it's, oh well, to me this looked like it was a great model, and you know, I want to ask the judges how they didn't put this one in the top 3 for this category.
Well, let me ask you this though: when they judge your models, do they give you a card saying this is why we put you in this place because blah blah blah, or not?
They don't, but you know, there's a pretty good volume of published guidelines and rules. So you know, for instance, in a standard build, a base isn't supposed to be judged. So even if you have an awesome base on a mediocre model, they're still going to rate just the model.
Well, sure.
You know, that sort of thing, and you kind of have to trust that they've got experts in those categories judging those models and that sort of thing. But you know, they're not really judging on, you know, especially a lot of times in the science fiction area, we do a lot of lighting and that sort of thing. That's not necessarily supposed to impact how that model stacks up, you know, in there. But yet a lot of people put a lot of aftermarket stuff into their models, you know, and those are the ones that tend to win that I've seen, right? They're especially in the naval areas where, you know, everybody's got to me that seems like that's where the photo etch add-on started, right? They're the railings and that kind of stuff that go around the deck section.
I just come across a vendor who just sells a lot of this photo etch stuff. And I was actually pretty impressed. I was like page after page after page after page after. It was actually very monotonous because they were showing things I have no idea what they are. But they did show pictures occasionally on some of the railings, some of the, I don't know, the casings for spotlights and stuff like that a kit might not have even. Those are the two things that struck me about. And of course, one of our friends here in the community, Phil, has done a lot of battleships. I'm sure you've seen his work on the community too. And he does a lot of photo etch. He says when he gets photo etch for these battleships, there's like sheets upon sheets upon sheets upon sheets. It's like a whole other set of screws.
It's amazing, and actually, so Edward, the Czech aftermarket manufacturer of a lot of that stuff, they had at the national show. They had in the vendors area a giant everything in their catalog with them. It was pretty impressive.
So tell us what you got on your bench there.
Let's see. I've got this. This is the Dragon J.
This is not me cutting out, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, he's frozen a bit.
He's frozen, yeah. I think you need to back out and come back in, Brad. Anyhow, what I've been doing.
I didn't realize how nice having these vinyl window masks were until I put it on this guy. And then the thing I just finished was this. So this is the cutaway space battleship Yamato.
Hold it up to the camera if you could, please.
Yeah, you got it. Here, I'll just bring it down here, see if we can see it. So this, I tried something new, and I'm not sure how I feel like it turned out, because you really have to view it from based on the scale. So this is a 700 scale, 1/700 scale. Tried some non-metal metallic type painting techniques on this. So making it look like it's shining where it's, you know, where it's supposed to be metal.
Yeah.
It's my first shot at it, but yeah, it's a pretty nifty little kit. This came from Cult TV Man a couple years ago. I don't see this kit out very much anymore. You know, there's the newer 2199 kits. What's that, Jay?
Japan has released at least 50 different Yamato kits.
Oh yeah, at least.
Some of them are really bizarre. A friend of mine bought the Forced Perspective model, where the front of the model was this big, back of the model was this big, and it was only about this long. But oddly enough, it looked pretty good when he was sitting on his stand, especially if you closed one eye, so you'd only get a 2D effect.
yeah,
really,
this guy's just kind of cleaned it up, and it's a nifty little kit.
I like.
So that'll probably go down.
I like the Yamato. It's one of my.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
really cool.
And the other thing I'm working on is a 3D printed model that I've been kind of messing around with here. This guy. And this guy is at really trying to use all clad. So I've got another little model that I'm working on. This guy. This is just like an F100.
Yeah.
I think I paid $250 for it at the show. But then this one I'm going to try some steel and copper. So I've got my gloss.
Bradley, have you worked with all clads very much?
No, this is my first time.
Can I make a suggestion to you that works better than what they say to do?
Yeah.
They say spray it with gloss black. Spray it down with flat black. That will show up inconsistencies a whole lot better. And then before you put the alclads on it, spray it down with a clear of some sort, like Future, floor polish, or just acrylic clear. Because that just works so much better. It gets rid. All clads are incredible paint, but they will show up any tiny imperfection that you happen to have in that plastic. But they are great paints.
Right. Well, and this is very imperfect because this is a printed model, so it's you know, kind of.
There's a new 3D printer on the market that I really want to get. It isn't huge. It's only got about a 3x3 or a 5x5 by 3 work area, but it's only $350. You know.
Right. Well, and I have a printer bot, Simple Metal. It's got about a 6x6 working.
Yeah.
And it was about, the kit was just over $500. Now, there's a Delta style one that's coming out beginning of the year that I backed on Kickstarter, and it is actually going to be $179.
Wow.
But it's a smaller working area. But it's a really neat, little kit.
I think 3D printing, especially for people who build their own parts, I think 3D printing is the wave of the future. It's great.
I totally agree.
So, I mean, I'm sort of feeling like a purist when it comes to something like that.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I've got no problem with it. I like the idea of if I've got to make 20 of a certain part,
Yeah, sure.
One and print it up perfect, and then
sure.
that, you know.
Yeah. I can understand, but to build a finished product
behind me over here is it's never. This is never going to replace that. I mean, this was somebody's idea that I decided that I was going to try it out, but you know, like right now I'm printing a U-boat. So here's the bow of it right now. And it's gonna take a lot of time to print because I'm printing it at a pretty high resolution. But
and it looks like you're printing at a pretty good scale too.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty big. It'll probably be about yay big when it's done.
Oh, wow.
I'm still trying to track
down
a decent model of the skipjack.
Oh yeah. Well, somebody's modeling this stuff everywhere. So I mean, I don't think like this TIE fighter. This is never going to replace the detail that we get out of a styrene kit, right? Unless you take a lot of time to print it. And,
yeah.
You know, this is. I mean, this is okay. But you know, and I think for base materials and stuff like that, the 3D printer is pretty decent. Yeah. That's right. I mean, 3D printing is truly still a hobby. You know, it's. You don't do many useful things with 3D printing, at least in your house.
Yeah.
Like this little stand that I made. I mean, I just did this in Tinkercad, which is Autodesk's little free web-based 3D modeling tool. So I modeled this little box, and it's got some little details, so you probably can't see it on the camera, but these are like little Cthulhu cult coins.
Oh God, yes.
And on the side of this,
Lovecraft fan, yes.
The title of this thing is called the Gowanus Monster, and apparently there's this canal in New York City, and there's this mythical monster. Well, this is what somebody modeled up. So I've got a little skyline of New York City on the side, but then also in here, I put in a holder in the bottom. So on one side, I've got like a battery clip for a 9-volt. On the other side, another clip where I can stick a little circuit board in there.
Yeah.
Because I'm lighting this up, so the eyes are going to light up, and these little portholes are going to light up and stuff.
That's cool.
So, you know, it's kind of a nifty hobby to have, but I still, I mean, these still are really what get it for me, you know.
Oh yeah.
As far as accuracy goes.
No, we're not quite there yet for the inexpensive printers to get the detail yet.
Well, you know,
No.
that's what they said about even computers. Give it time. Give it time. But I can understand doing parts like Jay says, or
Right.
even do your own aftermarket parts with a kit too. Just you can do it just the same, because I'm sure that Jay, for an example, did the for the Defiant. I think it would have been probably easier to print the damn thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Most of it anyway. Most of it anyway. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it takes some computer wizardry to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah,
I
there's
try
specialized
to do,
but
I try to do it something you get online for free. I don't know. I got the most easiest program, and I can't remember what it's called. It's not Blogger, but it feels like it's Blogger. But long and short of it, I couldn't do anything with it. And to think that a more complex 3D software, I wouldn't be able to do that. No, I just. I think they're
You
pretty.
probably-
I don't think the interface is friendly. I would say not right now. It's not friendly.
None of them really are. Working in 3D like that is difficult, I think. And you know, just doing that little box thing, I mean, that probably took me a few hours. Where if somebody knew something, they'd have it done in 5 minutes.
Right.
Same thing with a 3D printer. It's like being a machine operator, right? You know, basically, I built that printer. I bought the kit, so it was put together. I put the motors on. I did all the assembly work, and it breaks down. It clogs. It all the things that you would expect with being a machine operator is what you get with something like this. Whereas I can go to my local hobby store, pick up a kit, and be raring to go.
Yeah.
But, also too, I gotta even mention as well, like James, he just goes on the internet, finds a paper model, prints it, and it's free.
Yeah.
But I can see copyright infringement happening here.
Well, there's copyright infringement everywhere with this stuff.
Yeah,
Actually,
they'll sell you the program, the file, and all you got to do is just have the printer print it. I mean,
right.
It's easy to transmit,
Well, and there are services popping up where people have excess capacity in their machines that they own and are coming up with either their own designs or printing out designs for people and then sending them to them for it seems like it's a nominal fee.
You know where you can find those kind of services on the internet? What would you look for? I don't even know what you would look for.
The big one, Shapeways, is the big commercial one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a big commercial one. And then there's another one, My Minicraft, I think, is what it is. That's a UK-based one, but they have they have people all over the world. And it's actually really starting kind of that microtransaction-based behavior, like, hey, I like your model, I'm going to tip you $2 or whatever. And it's starting to get in the networks with PayPal and that sort of thing, where people are actually going to start getting paid for some of their work, where before it was just kind of a hobby and people were just doing it for fun.
Yeah. I mean, the thing you got to remember about copyright is if you're making it for yourself, there's nothing wrong.
Yep.
The minute you try to sell it, that's when you're starting to get into copyright.
Yeah.
That's when the lawyers get
for an example, that TIE Fighter, for a more detailed model, somebody can actually get that all worked up, and send it to you. And who's to say that they're not actually selling it? Because you can always pay for something through the back door too, just the same.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and all my little desktop doodads now are all printed, right? So all my little brush holders and I've got these.
Organization is the proof of a sick mind.
Yeah, like these little, like I have a zillion of these little things to hold my Vallejo paint.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to. I use Vallejo almost exclusively, and I'm thinking of making something out of like a piece of plywood. Just drill holes in it, put it back to it, and you can stick these bottles into it. And I was just saying on the across the pond on my F-18 Hornet, the paint looked perfectly fine when it was wet, but when it dried, it turned up dark. So I have a dark-colored F-18. But since yesterday, what did I do since yesterday? Oh, I put on the Sidewinder missile on the end here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also the tail hook on the back here, which is just a little piece of plastic. And I've got all ready for the exterior tank, fuel tank. I still got to paint over the glue that's shining over there, but that's all I did on the model. And I bought this kit on eBay, and I was just telling Jay earlier, when I got it, I'm thinking, I don't buy open kits on eBay for a good reason called missing parts. And I got this in, it was an open kit. I thought I'd start working. I got a whole bunch of jets, but I started on this one, and sure enough, they're missing parts. And what's missing is something to do with the missiles here on the underside that I'm going to just leave out completely. But also, I'm missing missiles too, so I'm going to make them out of sprue. The middle one is a sprue, and I started sanding for the cone shape, and I got to admit it's working out pretty good. And just get thin pieces of styrene to put the fins on it, and go from there. So if I was savvy enough in 3D printing, I can
Print your own.
print my own. But I wouldn't have the joy of all the sanding and all the cutting for the fins.
Well, what I will tell you is, with the way the layers print on a 3D printer, you still end up doing a lot of sanding if you actually want a
Yeah.
Well,
even.
yeah, but the cone shape is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And also I've got to cut the little fins out on a thin piece of styrene. But that'll work. I think that'll work just fine. And it'll be all my own. It won't be entering in a show, but it'll be all my own. And I'm really getting a kick out of building the jets and airplanes. They're so different from a car, and especially from a sci-fi kit. There's so many little different parts to it. And like the missiles on the end of the wings here, they said in instructions what they are. So I looked it up on the internet. They're called Sidewinders, and they're used. Not even sure what they're used for, but a lot of these missiles are used for ground. They shoot them to the ground.
Yeah, they're used for blowing up things, basically.
Yeah, blowing up things. But I think the Sidewinder is supposed to shoot at other airplanes, other jets.
Those are air-to-air, I believe.
Yeah, air-to-air.
They're air-to-air missiles. Yeah.
Yeah. So here I'm building something and I'm learning something too. That's what thrills me about modeling. I get to learn these things, and it's interesting stuff. It's interesting stuff.
Well, and that's what I found with going back to some more of the military subjects. Is there is so much history there that there's plenty of reference material out there.
Oh,
and
wow.
when you get into that area, and I as a kid, that's all I built was aircraft, and I have an entire box sitting over in my corner over there of the stuff I built when I was a kid. But when you go and see what other people are doing, especially at a model show, or even if you just show up, if you're not competing, just to see what other people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
you could research it to the nth degree. So I was doing a little bit of research and thinking, oh man, I'd really love to do a diorama. And so I got this idea in my head. I was listening to Citizen Soldier. It's a Stephen Ambrose book, the guy that wrote Band of Brothers. And they were talking about how in the field, the combat engineers and the tankers started innovating on their tanks. So they put this thing on the front of their Sherman tanks called rhinos, because what would happen is the infantry, where they would go over a hedgerow in Normandy, and the Germans were already dug in, so they'd be on either end with machine gun emplacements, and they just mow all these guys down. The problem is the hedgerows were too thick that the tanks couldn't just ram right into it and go over them. They were 4 to 8 feet tall. So they put these, they cut up the big girders that you would see on the beaches of Normandy, where they were crossed, kind of sitting there to keep heavy equipment from coming in.
Sure.
They started cutting those up and sticking them on the front of the Sherman tanks to push through the hedgerows. And so the tanks could lead in, take the machine gun fire, and give cover to the infantry behind them with their mortars and stuff to be able to take out the machine gun emplacements. So, of course, crazy me, I get this idea in my head. Unfortunately, this diorama is going to end up being like this big because, a 1/35 scale Sherman tank with, a machine gun team and an 88 millimeter cannon and all these other things. I hope it's going to turn out good. I have to draw it on paper, but I've been steadily just buying things to put with this stuff. So I've got the Tamiya military kits like this, if you ever see them. Even Hobby Lobby carries these guys, right?
Oh,
yeah.
1/35 scale. So I got this. I've got an 88 millimeter. I've got an anti-tank gun. I've got I'm starting to accumulate these things, and they're a nice departure because you can start painting a squad, a machine gun squad, or assembling them. Kind of put them down. Maybe I'll come back and work on this for a little while, and then work on that a little bit more. And it's something that I have a goal of achieving probably by next spring. So there's plenty of time, but you look at a diorama like that, and so I'm researching online. So what scale in millimeters is 1/35 scale, right? And if you're doing tabletop miniatures, I want to say it's 54 millimeters, so it's super large tabletop military stuff. So then you can get it also breaks it down by scale. So 9 millimeters is a foot in that scale. So 9 millimeters. So if I need an 8-foot high hedgerow, I need 9 millimeters times 8, which is this high, and then it scales out by 10 feet. So I'm trying to do all this little math to try to figure out what the dimensions of this hedgerow should look like that I'm going to eventually bust a tank through. So it's going to be an interesting little project.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
But like you're bringing up, there's just a lot of things that didn't know what happens. Just got to do the research for what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
I've been thinking of dioramas too, but you're right. It's all about space. And I came up here out of the basement only because it smells better up here. And I don't know. I'm just going to end up having shelves behind me and all kinds of things behind me. Everything is on this wall over here. The shelves are empty. I still haven't figured that out yet. But what about your workspace do you think is the most conducive to your model building? Because I've never really been able to ask you that. What about your workspace is most conducive to building?
Being away from everybody.
But that's fair. That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
Well, and actually, for me, it's the space, right? So I have this bench right here. I have a corner bench in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter works over at this bench over here, and I've got another one over here in case I need extra space. And I have a paint booth over in the other corner.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just being able to spread out.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it was actually the height of the table, but not necessarily, because the chair I'm on, up or down, and because I'm nearsighted, it's nice to be close to the table. But I'll have you all know that I ordered bifocals.
Yeah, I've been
Don't
wearing bifocals for several years, so.
Yeah, well, I ordered 2 pair because I really don't need them at work. I work in front of a computer all day, but the computer screen's far enough away that I really don't need bifocals there. And I don't write anything. I really don't do anything post work there. Boy, when it comes to my model building, hate taking the glasses off. And this past, when I went to D.C., I found out that I've only worn these were brand new, and I started wearing them about 4 weeks ago. And I don't know, can you see that one of the nose pads are missing?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened, but trust me, I'm not getting wire frames anymore. I hate them. They're uncomfortable and they break so easy. I didn't even notice that the nose pad was missing, but we'll see. Maybe even by next weekend I'll have them.
You can get the pads fixed. It won't take long.
Oh, I know, but I haven't gone to the eye doctor in maybe about 3 or 4 years, so it's time for me to go. So, James, what do you think of Brad's T-shirt?
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, I have it on my other computer. I did take a picture of the Canadian Embassy in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's probably one of the closest buildings to the Capitol, and it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And there's a lot of places in D.C. I come across that, in the friendship with Canada, I actually thought it was very interesting that I found a lot of references to Canada in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly the treaty, I don't know the name of the treaty, you may know that, where basically it said between the 2 nations, we're best buddies and we're never going to be enemies, pretty much. That was in the 1840. It was around the time that Canada became a Commonwealth and not a colony.
Yeah, we did that when we created our own constitution separate from the. Well, it was still it took after some British North America Act back in 1867.
Oh, 1867. Okay. What I'd like to find is, I don't know what the name of the truck is, but it was a Ford. It used to go across the border during Prohibition to pick up whiskey. That would be kind of fun to build. A Prohibition, out in the middle, like in North Dakota somewhere, North Dakota. Yeah. That's where that's where a lot of the...
Actually, a lot of it used to go in small boats across the lake.
That too.
The river.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of modeling history to get into.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I thought I'd do a couple of screen shares and call it a night. We got about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
There is something that a model kit that I haven't seen done very often. And it is something that I'd like to do because it's one of my hobbies in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's riding motorcycle. And I think you can relate to that, James, because you ride too.
Yeah.
And the model kits for motorcycles are horribly expensive. I don't know why.
Especially the larger ones, yeah.
I don't know what scale this is, but I think it could be...
I think it's 1/6, I think.
1/6. This would be the Katana. Is that the Suzuki Katana? I'm right. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Suzuki Katana, and he's just got some things going on here on the frame. I am really, out of all the builds that are on right now on the community, this is the one I'm looking forward to seeing. Now, what's interesting here is, this is probably why it's expensive. Here you got the battery.
Yeah.
Can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom in. But you got all these cables to put in as well. And you really got to know what you're doing, putting these cables together. Not the thing.
If you're somewhat familiar with motorcycles, it's not that overwhelming.
No, it isn't. I'm familiar enough to be able to do this kit, I'm sure. And not so much a car. I did wire a car up. That was the Cobra, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm really happy that Mark is doing this. I'm really looking forward. So here's his paint for the frame. Look at that nice little tidy paint booth with the filter in the back.
Yeah.
That's there we go. That looks really good. That looks really good. But when I saw that, the first thing I thought of was Orange County Choppers. But I used to watch it religiously, and every time I see a bike frame, I just get all warm under my clothes. I really like motorcycles.
I'm definitely following his build on that one, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. That's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, Mark, for sharing, and we'll be looking forward to you doing that. Let's see. Well, speaking of bikes, Benjamin Peck did do a bike. It looks like a little dirt bike. I think it's a Honda. Yeah.
It's a Honda Monkey. They call it in Europe. We call it the Gnome here. Yeah.
I think it is called the same here in the States.
Yeah.
There's nothing here. This kit was somewhat tested me, but I'm near 99% completed. I have to say it's a great little kit. Just have to put the cable lines and wanting them to set. Also finished the little D. He's not saying what it is. It's not what it's. Honda also makes a motorcycle called the Ruckus.
Yeah, they make a motor scooter called the Ruckus. Yeah.
Motor scooter. Okay. It kind of reminds me of that because of the front end here.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ruckus is like a motor scooter without a body type thing.
Right. It's pretty much all frame. It doesn't look like it has any substance to it. But I would think this would have been the early 70s. Only because of the tailpipe here. Honda did a lot of these tailpipes in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Of course, the biggest bike they had at the time was probably about 125 cc, maybe 250 at best.
Yeah.
But now you can buy a motorcycle, if you know anything about engines, you can buy them 2,000 cc like the Katana is.
Yeah.
Those are enough to push a car around. Let alone you got probably the 10th of the weight of a motorcycle from a car. And boy, those things are powerful. Okay, Brad, I found some pictures that you posted. You're all clad. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try it again. It is a jet. It looks like an F-15.
Yeah, it's this guy right here.
Wow,
it's an F-100.
Oh, okay. All right, got it.
Got some primer on.
Get back on. Oh shit! Boy, I got the lovely advantage of having a computer that's right on the mark. Okay. Scroll. Because your pictures, there we go, would be the great test. I do zoom in on pictures if I can to see every flaw.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if you're gonna. Oh, you're letting me zoom. There we go.
No seam work done on that one yet.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's very evident. It's very good though.
It's kind of a cool little kit. I don't know that I've ever done a 1/72 scale jet before, so this is it's kind of the precursor to another crazy idea in my head. I bought a B-36 1/72 scale at the show, and I also managed to pick up a B-58 and a couple other, like an XB Valkyrie, is a B-70. So it's more of like a strategic air command type of collection, so to speak. So this this F-100 is the same vintage, belonged part of the Strategic Air Command, so that's why I was kind of starting off with something simple.
Well, let me ask you this, because you got your daughter very interested in. Is this something that she's going to do for a long time, is to build models? And also, what scale are you getting her involved with, if I may ask?
All. That's the problem is, so I have like some 1/72nd scale armor. I have some 1/35th scale armor. I've got 1/48 scale aircraft like this one. I've got 1/72nd scale aircraft, and then of course, you know, all the Star Wars and Star Trek tend to be a crapshoot of what you get out of that. I do have the whole line of 1,000 scale yet to be constructed, and you know, odds and ends. But yeah. And,
but what are you getting her to start? I mean, come on. I mean, this is, you get kids interested, and I think it's important to get kids interested in something tangible like this instead of pushing buttons on a console to play video games. Yeah. What do you get her started on? So, I mean, what did you get her started on?
My daughter, she did a P40, was her first completed kit.
Oh.
It was she went to the local hobby town with me. She said, "Yeah, I think I like that one." So we picked that up. And that's what she entered in the contest. Like over on our bench right now, she's got a super deformed Gundam that's yet to be constructed.
Cool.
A Stearman and a 1/48 scale Stearman and a little Sopwith Camel. And then when I was at the big show, I got her one of the what do they call them? Can't remember now.
It's actually pretty cool. You're getting your daughter into this. Oh, nice.
Oh, one of the wacky winks. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this was she
Flame
saw
mode,
this
isn't it? Yeah. Freddy Flame Mode.
Yeah. So she liked that. But yeah, I just let her pick out whatever she's interested in, and you know, eventually she'll get it. Sorry, my phone's ringing on me. But yeah, just any and all, anything that she's interested in building, I kind of nurture it and hope that she does it to completion. She did her base. I don't have it down here. She's got it up in her room, but her base she did all by herself with static grass, and she took the darker static grass and wanted to make it look like there was a shadow because it was an in-flight model, and so pretty neat project.
Nice. I don't want to sound like I'm sexist or anything, but I honestly believe we need a lot more women in this hobby.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
So I would say 3/4 of the people at the national show had white hair, and were probably, you know, well over. I was young in my 40s, where most of the people were in their 60s plus.
60s, 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were some kids, but not what I would like to see. And actually, I was kind of disappointed. So a lot of the big shows, they do like make and takes for kids. And I didn't see many kids over at the make and take, but they were doing cars, and nobody's really interested in cars. So, I mean. Oh
yeah, I think airplanes are very popular among kids too, because there's just a fascination. Because cars roll across the ground, there's a fascination with flying. It's a human wonderment and desire always to be able to fly, and I think that's why kids are attracted to cars more often than not.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of amusing. AMT came out with the Enterprise, the 1000 scale, and the 650 scale together in one box.
Yeah.
I saw that at the shop this week.
Father and son, or mother and daughter build, you know. Or
yeah.
Mother and son.
Labeled as father and son.
Yeah, they labeled it as father and son, but you know, who says a father and daughter couldn't build it?
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. There's Bradley's.
Yep.
Example there, but I hope she sticks with it, particularly if she's really desirous to be good at it. You know, and I think that's what's really important for kids to be good at anything that they do.
Something that I think has been really good at drawing the younger people into modeling, I think, has been Gundam.
You
Yeah,
think?
Gundam has brought a lot of kids into modeling.
yeah.
Hmm.
In fact, Deanne is getting into modeling now, and it's mainly the Japanese kids.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, that was your all-clad. It's looking good. Don't be ashamed of it. It's actually very good. Anybody that does better than me is doing really well.
Yeah.
All
Vallejo is now bringing out a line of metallics now.
yeah, yeah. They had some before, but these are different.
Yeah.
These work more like all clad. So
Mhm.
You guys talking about the Vallejo stuff? Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah,
I saw that in action at the big show. It was very impressive. And when I talked to the local guy, I actually am going to a new shop. It's up in Ypsilanti. And I was talking to the guy there. He says he's already got his display on order for it. And I told him to give me a call when it comes in because I'll definitely be in the front of the line to pick those up because I'm not a big fan of doing anything with lacquer.
Yeah.
I'd be really more than happy to do acrylics if it looks right.
I prefer acrylics all hands down, only because of the odor and the cleanup is awful.
Terrible.
Every now and again, I do have these little bottles of testers, we're all familiar with. Like this
Yeah.
is the gold. This is a very nice metallic gold. And these are for really accents. This isn't something that I actually paint an entire model with. I actually, do accents with them, and I got a whole bunch of them. I got a copper. The copper I've used most often.
copper is good.
But really, when it comes to like the entire model, oh God, no.
I've still got about 8. I've still got about 8 of the old testers in that style bottle. And when I say old, it's because they were 15 cents and it's printed right on the top of the can
Right.
bottle,
Mhm.
and they still work.
Do you know Rust-Oleum now owns the Testors paints? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Really?
Rust-Oleum owns it. Yep. Makes sense. Because particularly when, I think if you would notice, if you go to the Home Depot, Rust-Oleum isn't what Rust-Oleum used to be. It's all kinds of colors and textures and
Yeah.
and almost customized kind of stuff too. And I think they picked that up from when they acquired Testors. But anyhow,
They've got some nice stuff that sticks to virtually any plastic, including vinyl.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. I hear Keith talking about that all the time, or what sticks to vinyl. He's into the vinyl figures. But there is one airplane that I am very fond of World War II. This is one of the two that I'm fond of. It's the Dauntless.
Mm-hmm.
The Dauntless was very much of a workhorse in the European theater. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Pacific. Pacific was more like the the Angelina Jolie movie, whatever. I did see it, and I thought it was
Mustangs and
right.
the a lot of the Grumman
Yeah.
planes were aircraft carrier based.
Well, Tommy Boy Scale Modeling had posted this, and he's done a great job about the rivets.
Mm-hmm.
I can't zoom in on this. Love the rivets showing up so clearly on this. But this is one of my favorite airplanes. If I had a kid, this is the airplane I'd give them to build, just because I like it. I think this is the 72 scale. Am I? Yeah, I think this is the Testors 72 scale that I did build. It was a lot of fun to build. They go together really quick. Those 72 scales.
Yeah.
But I don't even think this is 72. I think it might be even smaller. But I think they label it 72. These go together real fast, and this is where you'd practice your paint because the model goes together so quick.
Yeah.
And not practice assembly. Because I think the testers one came with like 12 pieces.
Yeah, it was very low parts count.
Well, anyhow, fellas, I really appreciate you guys coming by. If every time my screen share goes away, there it goes. Thanks for stopping by and sharing what you got. And Brad, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been too long.
Yeah, it has been an extraordinarily long time, I have to say. And I'm very pleased that you came by and shared what you got, particularly what you got on your bench as well as your workshop, and telling us more about the contest, which I'm not so fond of doing. But still, I would attend just because, here in town, I think, what do you call it, model railroading is big around here. In fact, there is a place very close here that every year they open their doors. It's a model railroading club.
Yeah.
And they actually have a rather large facility. I watched a video that they produced about 10 years ago that they got this new building. They got enough funding to build it, and they started, because they didn't have a home for a long time. They were in a downtown area for the longest time. That's where they started, and it was a gentleman's club mostly. And they opened their doors around Christmas time to show off their layouts, and when I found out about it, I'm now looking forward to going and seeing. Because this town where I'm at, in western Pennsylvania, railroad is big, huge. But I don't find... Is there a place on the internet I can find where these shows are, like you go to? Do you know where I could find out where the shows are?
Well, you can check on IMPS's site. IMPS's site will list all their sanctioned contests.
Okay. Sanctioned contests. Okay. I think I'll look that up. Anyway, thanks, Brad, for coming by, and hope to see you soon. And keep posting. I do pay attention to what you post. I look after seeing your technique, your abilities, and try to learn from you. And James, thanks for stopping by. You're like a mainstay here and representing an entire facet of modeling. You're doing now styrene.
Well, I'm not scared to tackle anything. So.
And Jay, thank you for stopping by too. I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks too, and it's good to see that you're doing well.
Yeah, much better.
And thanks for joining us and watching. And if you wanted to see the past episodes of the Hangouts, just go to my YouTube at Scratch and Jack at YouTube. There's all the past ones you want to, shake a stick at, as well as like it. Thumbs up or thumbs down. I really don't pay attention, but if you have a comment, question, or suggestion, please just let me know, and we'll get on it. And next week we're off. We're on every other week for the Sunday Hangout. It's 7 p.m. Eastern. It's got moved from 8 o'clock to 7 o'clock because I would need it to. I'm working overtime, and Monday mornings are a dreadful time. And of course, the Across the Pond on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Happy modeling. Good night.
Good night.
Hey.
Night, Jack.